Hello, my peeps. It is Tracey here. Oh, I can't do with one hand. I think we're on day 6 or day 7. No, we're on day 8. Sorry, we're on day 8 of 25 days to an organized craft room. So I'm filming outside just because it's funny. You see the truck? Today is Wednesday, the 14th of January. I did a video on Monday for day 6 and day 7. So day 6 was current stamp sets to go through, organize, review, purge. Day 7 was the retired ones. And full disclosure, I'm not finished, which you'll see when I flip my camera here in a second. I had every intention of doing either like a short video or a post or something yesterday afternoon saying, here's progress, here's where we're going, here's some tips. Because originally it was just going to be a post. But then as I started doing things, I started figuring stuff out and some little like whoop. And I thought, oh, maybe it'll be a video. If nothing else, I'll do some tips. But after not having our roads plowed at all last year, we are like level 4 on the priority. So they got as close as 3 a couple weeks ago, but then it snowed again. So right back to 1 they go. So I guess last year we never made it at all. I know this because I talked to my neighbor yesterday as I went to take my car in to get its service. And he was stuck in his driveway trying to get out because anybody who shoveled your driveway, there was about a foot difference between your driveway and the road. So he's got just a low car. So he's trying to get out. He's stuck. Big discussion on it. And we were scheduled. Our signs on our road said Tuesday, Wednesday. So I was really hoping. But nothing was happening. Nothing was happening. So I'm getting ready to do I had a Zoom call at 6 yesterday. I'm getting ready to do it. And all of a sudden, the noise factor went up by 7,000 and chaos ensued. They started grading the roads. So the grader starts coming by and he's piling it. There's no way they can just push it off to the side. There's way too much snow now. So they have the grader start coming by and he did about 5 or 6 passes to get it all neatly windrowed in the middle. So the neighbors start coming out to, get what they can off the driveways, clean up whatever mess, throw it into the middle so that it can get trucked away as well. The dog starts barking at all of this, right? Because there's like so much stuff going on outside the window and the noise and the vibration. Then at some point they did start the trucks at the other end picking up the snow. So they were picking up the snow and then the full trucks were driving by our house. Well, the whole house is vibrating as these big heavy trucks are going by. And there's 4 or 5 of these trucks and they were just going for a while. So I decided to postpone my Zoom. And I realize I'm just like showing the outside of the window, but I postponed my Zoom because it was so loud in here. I mean, I tried to get the dog to stop barking, but there was so much going on. And like I said, the house was literally vibrating. And so I thought this is not conducive. So the trucks went till about 7. And the grader would come by every now and again and like clean up the mess that the trucks were leaving, I guess. I don't know. And then they stopped and I thought, oh, they must be taking a supper break. Our noise bylaw is from 11 to 7, you have to be quiet. People with little kids and a lot of people complain if you're making too much noise past about 9. So I thought, well, they'll come back and maybe they'll finish up a little bit. Nope, they never did come back. So I figured they'll come this morning. Yeah, they can start at 7, maybe 8 or 9, they'll come back. Nope. So I'm trying to get stuff ready because now I have 3 things I have to do. I have to film a replacement for our Zoom last night. I needed to do today's day, and I'm supposed to have a live at 3 o'clock. Plus, I'm leaving early to go out for dinner and the theater because we have seasons tickets. Nothing. I thought, fine, I'm going to start filming a video for my day 8. That's how you get the trucks to come back. Because no sooner do I start filming the first take of this video. I keep saying day 8, but I'm just gonna make sure I'm not wrong about that. Yes. So as soon as I start filming, the trucks come back. So dog starts barking. So they have now cleared the snow. It's also garbage day. So I had stopped. Sorry. Right. I'll wait. Wait till they finish. Everything's finished. I'm waiting to see if the grader's gonna come do little final pass. Like there's a tiny little bit in the middle, but like nothing serious. I don't think he's going to come back, but if he is, I can almost guarantee it'll be during this video. So I start doing the video again. The recycle truck comes. Because yes, garbage and recycle day as well. So with any luck, that's all finished. Maybe not. Now, I have been cleaning my desk off every night. This stuff I pulled out because I'm trying to do this with one hand today because I'm holding my phone. So I had to get a few things out and ready. So I will do a a quick recap of days 6 and 7, and then I'll tell you about day 8. So the first thing I did, and yes, I'm not finished, as you can see. The first thing I did was I went through my current stamps. Yes, you know what this tells me? I need to buy more stamps. So these 2 bins were full. I pulled out. That is what is left of current stamps. Now, I told you on Monday, I pull out the last chance ones. And I almost was going to like use the middle bin as last chance ones. But I basically pulled them out and decided, here's the ones I'm not keeping that are on last chance. Here's the ones I am keeping that are on last chance. So you can see on the floor, I have I told you from like day 1 we're going to start. That's my sale bin. So some of them were really easy as I was going. I just quickly pulled them out and went, nope. So before I do my sale in June, I will check and make sure that the last chance ones have actually discontinued. But I did that. So now I have lots of room. And the annual catalog is coming up. We actually get to order, demos get to order next week for the March online exclusives. And then in March, we get to order for the annual catalog that comes out in May. So in the next month or 2, I will be filling these up, no doubt. But for now, they're done. And I'm happy to report they're also done and they're in alphabetical order. So can I get these out without dropping everything? Maybe. I'm happy to report that I did get the trusty tools into its case with its big dies. And I got this entire stamp set into a, see now I did that, I can't put them back in. I'll put that back in afterwards. Into a clear envelope. That's right, I got it just like I didn't have to use window sheet. I got it lined up just perfectly. Okay, so that was there. The tips basically for current stamp sets, retired stamp sets, and dies. I have some bin tips that are going to be for like that work for all 3 of them. So there we go. So then I started. Yes, I did start actually on Tuesday night with the retired stuff, but I was working on them yesterday as well. So I still have a bit up there that I have to deal with, but these ones here. So these first 6 bins are already sorted. These are definitely keepers, and they're back in alphabetical order. I did decide that I was going to have, and one of the bins is out on my desk right now. So those 2 bins are all Christmas, and this bin is all the other holidays. I have some Valentine, Easter, I have a St. Patrick's set, Halloween. So one thing I found yesterday is, and some of these will likely end up with in new cases. So if I take these though, what I learned yesterday, if I take these and I have it full enough that things are standing upright, it's too tall for my shelf. So I actually have to keep these bins, any of the bins that have this in it, have to actually be empty enough that the things lean so that these fit. Because if they don't, then I don't have enough room for this shelf. And this shelf turned out to be super handy, and I'm going to tell you about it in a minute. So yes, I still have more to go through. All right, I'm still working on it. But yesterday was chaos. And I did have my entire desk was covered. I pulled everything off the shelves, and I had them all on my desk, and I was pulling things back in that I was keeping or putting things in the bin. And there's some recycled ones, or sorry, retired ones that I have put in the bin. But I kept having, I cleaned off for the Zoom, and then with just the noise, and it was just not the most productive day yesterday. So I had a revelation this morning, though, I'll tell you that's, woohoo! So just a couple tips, though, of things I figured out as I was going through. So as I was going through the retired stamp sets, I came up with a few that I looked at, and I was like, oh, and this is sometimes on the decision making, I struggle sometimes, because I look and I'm like, So this stamp set, I love this stamp set. One of the reasons I got it was his happy birthday, which I love. Now we have another, and I love because it's not cursive. It's a nice happy birthday. It's stacked. Sometimes I like the happy birthday to be one long one, and sometimes I like stacked. So this is stacked, which is nice, and it's not cursive. So it's just a nice simple task, which is, yes, better for masculine cards, but it's also better for people like me who prefer just clean and simple. So I had that. But I will tell you that the 100% actual reason that I bought this bundle, sorry, my snap set is sliding, was this right here. I really, really needed the lobster die for a project I was working on. Now, this stamp set has some great dies in it. Like, this is a cool little underwater cavern. I love all things ocean. We got some seaweed, we got a shell, some fish, bubbles, the whole thing. So I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking, and I do have a few extra pieces there stamped. And I'm looking and I'm deciding, yes, no. And I have so many ocean stamp sets. But here's the thing. Final decision is I'm going to take this stamp set, and that's why it's in this pile, and I'm going to cut myself out a schwack of lobsters, and I might cut some of these other things out too, because if I'm going to run a crank through my cut and emboss machine, I'm not going to do it for one tiny little thing. I'm probably going to do all of these things and just cut a bunch of them in some different colors. And if all else fails, because you're like, well, what if you don't know what color you want? If all else fails, cut them out of white cardstock. Because you know what you can do to white cardstock? Color it with your blends. You can get shading, you can get different colors. So if I don't know exactly what color I want something to be, I cut it out of that. This little like underground thing is likely going to be darker. Could it be done out of basic beige or crumb cake and be like sand cake? Like, because that's kind of sandy colored? Yep. Can I still color on those because they're light? Yep. So I've got a little pile going of stamp sets that I'm more keeping the bundle because there's one die or a couple things out of it that I want. So I'm going to, these are just set off to the side. I'm going to cut a bunch of pieces out of them, and then I'm going to put the sets in my sale bin. So we have that. Okay, so something else. I found my things. I knew I had bought a package of these. So I told you that you can buy the cases. So this is a pack. There's 10 to a package. I should have looked up the price, but I didn't. Just a sec here. I'm going to really quickly look on my computer, but I need to open this up and see if it keeps me logged in or if it's the customer site before I show you. My computer's super slow. So these were just tucked behind where the other stamps were, which made perfect sense. Okay. So we're not on the demonstrator, we're on the customer one. So I can just go down, I can go shop products. If you go to the stamp section, at the bottom it says stamp tools. I don't think I can get my phone close enough, but let's just, we're on the left-hand side. It's easy enough even if you can't read it. And there's stamp tools. So this is where all the bits and pieces are, right? The blocks, the cases, the different things. So I'm pretty sure, here we go. So these are the old school stamp cases, are still for sale. They say they're going to keep them for a while. Not sure for how long. Oh, look, the Stampin' Die organizers. I am obviously not the only person doing this because they are currently unavailable. But that means they're coming back. They will be. So anyways, yes, there's $22. So for $10 or 10 cases, $22 plus. That's in Alberta, so plus tax and GST. Now, I am thinking though, by the time I was done yesterday, I currently have 4 empty stamp cases. By the time I'm done, I'm going to have a lot more because I do plan on still like converting some of my stamps to these. Oops, I just hit my camera that I need for later. And I will be buying some new bundles. And when I buy the new bundles, then I end up with 2 cases. I'm going to combine mine so that I'll have so by the time I'm done, I will have a lot of empty stamp cases. So here's what I'm saying. If you are in the Edmonton area, so I'm in Mornville, but Edmonton area-ish, and because I know a few people have said, I don't like the new cases, I'm going to convert mine to the CD cases. So if you're going to go the other way and convert to CD cases, which is everybody's right. If your shelf set only fits one thing, like I'm lucky I figured out I can just lean mine and make those new ones work. But if there's absolutely no way that you can fit the new cases, then totally makes sense that you would go with the CD cases. So if there's someone in the area who wants a bunch of slightly used CD cases in exchange for the new envelopes, because you're switching the other way, message me. Because maybe we can just do a trade and you can have all my empty cases and I'll take your empty envelopes and away we go. We're both happy. Okay, so one of the other things I figured out yesterday was, and it actually applied more when I was first started putting stuff in bins. I always have something in bins. And when I use cards, and I don't have any of them close by, do I? Oh, yes, I do. I do it with cards as well. I'm going to have to swoop. Look, being supervised once again. In cards, I take pieces of cardboard and I peel the top layer off so you get like the corrugated effect. Right now, they're just laying down. But that's what keeps the cards from constantly sliding and falling down instead of standing up. So I'm doing this yesterday. And if you only put a couple cases in, we got plastic on plastic, and it's even worse with the envelopes. These will stand up at least. With the envelopes, they don't. I put them in, and they were just going like this and sliding down. Well, this is driving me nuts, of course. So I was going to go and find cardboard. The cardboard is a bit of a pain in the butt to cut, I will admit. But I realized I had some leftovers of things. So underneath my glass mat, which is on my table, because the one leg, the one little like stuck on footy that was there, kept falling off repeatedly. And I do lean on it and I do kind of push on it. And so it was bugging me. So it also raised this mat up and there was a little gap underneath. So lots of stuff kept sliding underneath. So at one point I decided to, I can't lift it I have all this stuff on top of it. Can you see? No, it's stuck to the bottom of the mat. That's why. But I have this piece of floor. The black that you can see there is this piece of floor stuff that you put underneath rugs to keep the rugs from slipping, right? So some kind of no slip. So I bought a big roll of it. It's like $2 or $3 at the dollar store. We have a Dollarama and a Dollar Tree in town. I have no idea which one I bought it at. I want to say Dollarama. So this piece is, I'm going to say 2 feet wide. I'm just guessing. Oops. I'm trying to measure. I have you notice on the front of my desk, I have a ruler, but I'm trying to hold this up there and it's falling. 7 and 25. So it's 18. So it's 18 inches wide. And it was long enough that I did my whole glass mat plus a bunch of other things. So you can get a lot out of this. But what I did was I took these, and it will depend on what size your bin is. In my case, 8.5 by 5.5, and I cut into little chunks. So I have the non-slip for the mat, which is super cost effective. And now, when I put these in, they don't move at all. They just stay where they're supposed to. These are not in order. So this is my bin. I told you I had like 2 for, well, maybe I didn't. Now I don't know. So I have 12 bins I've retired. That's what I have to make everything scale down into. 9 of them are just alphabetical. 1 of them is all the other holidays. So I have Easter. These are not in order. That's what I was going to do. Easter, Halloween, the St. Patrick's Day one. That's a Valentine's specific one, which I will never part with, I can tell you. And because I'm a forest ranger. Look at this thing. Of course, I'm never getting rid of that one. And then 2 of them are Christmas. But yeah, so this keeps my stamp sets from constantly sliding. And when I go like this, they don't slide the other direction. So that was a little tip. Just get the anti-floor stuff, or if you want to use cardboard, you can do that too. Cut it into little chunks, put it underneath, and it will keep your stuff from sliding all over the place. I think stamp set wise, we're good. So I showed you lots of tips on Monday on how I do the storage, and I'm like super stoked about it. Okay, so today, day 8. Oh my God, we're 18 minutes already and we're just getting to day 8. Is punches and dies. So we're going to start with dies because I'm sitting at my desk and the dies are in front of me. So as we were going through the stamp sets, a lot of them have dies in them. So they were kind of like if it's a bundle, they were kind of going together. But I have lots of cases of just dies. So in this case, this might have come with a stamp set. I don't actually know. I have lots of dies that are just standalone dies, or I just bought the die and I didn't buy the stamp that goes with it. And you're allowed to do that, You don't have to buy the whole thing as a bundle. Now, some of them, it doesn't make any sense to not buy them as a bundle. There's some stamp sets where if the majority of the stamp sets in it are outline stamp sets that cut out the stamped images, those dies are not going to be as valuable. It's going to have, what are you going to do with them if you don't have the stamped image? There's a lot of stamp sets where the majority of it, or the parts you want of it, enough of it is standalone dies, like dies that you can cut out that you can use without having to stamp anything first, that it's totally worth it. Some of them are designed to be standalone stamp sets. So I have lots of them, I guess is my point. So this was my old system, right? Using the stamp case, and I would put a label on the side. So, and most of them, there's the odd one that would only fit one. I'll show you in a minute. But so most of them would fit 2 stamp sets. So this is what I had: tasteful labels and tailor-made tags. This is the packaging that came for one of them, and this is the other one. Because again, I like this little thing down in the corner that tells me how many dies are supposed to be in it. because I pre-opened this, because I knew I was doing this with one hand. So here's what's in it. Tailored tags and tasteful, what did I say? Tasteful labels. Now these are two stamp sets, or two die sets that I've had for years and that I won't get rid of because they're just too good. So now my question is, what am I going to do? So I think some of these, because the new standalone dies will also be in the taller package, I think some of these I am going to take these out. But in this case, because I have the sticky in here, and as much as these are sticky and they don't fall out when you don't want them to, these little pieces of magnet sheet actually pull out fairly easily. I meant to grab a piece of cardstock and I didn't. So I think what I'm going to do for my new system, right, is I'm going to take these out, and because I've peeled the blue off, they're still sticky. I'm going to take these two off. I'm going to cut a piece of cardstock in half at the like 5.5 by 8.5, because that will be just a bit taller than this. I'm going to take that out and I'm going to stick this magnet sheet to the cardstock and put it in the case. So I will be able to show you that on tomorrow's. I can't do it one-handed. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Some of them might just end up staying in the case. In some cases, I keep saying the word case, like we should have done a drinking game today. Take a sip every time Tracey says the word case. So this bundle is called Wanted to Say, and it was too big to fit on one side. So there's only, or I said bundle, but this is just a stamp set. I do believe there was a stamp that came with, like you could have bought stamps that came with it. I only bought the dies. So this die set is big enough that I can't fit it on one sheet. Now, when I put it in the new case and I can go a bit taller, then yeah, I'm going to be able to fit this all on one side of one case, which means I will be able to put this in one side and a different stamp set on the other side, or a different die set on the other side. So I believe I will be putting a bunch of my dies in. I need to get more cases, but more of like the new envelopes, but I will be doing that. Because these are all shorter and the labels are all going to be shorter, like the inserts are all going to be shorter, the piece of cardstock, and I might use some, I have lots of old 12 by 12 as well. I might use 12 by 12 just to make it taller, but I'm going to do it so that I can, I might also just paper piece it, because Lord knows I got lots of white scraps too. So I'm going to make it so that actually an inch is probably enough. So 8.5 would give me like an 1.5 inches at the top. So on that 1.5 inches that is sticking up, I will write Wanted to Say dies, and I think this thing's called Forever Greenery. Stitched Greenery. And Stitched Greenery. So on the front of it, it will say the names of the two. So one will be on the front, the other one will be on the back with a piece of cardstock in the middle. So that way I'll be able to still have two per case and cut them down. Now, as I was doing just doing the stamps even and pulling stuff out, I have a bunch of these sets of dies. And these are some the red bins that I have are the old bins that I had from when I was doing markets. I had a whole bunch of these red bins that I would put treats and stuff in, or flip over to put stuff on to get like different depth and stuff. So I have a bunch of red. So I think what I've decided, and the one thing I cannot decide fully is if I want to have like one odd color bin there, which I don't think I do. But I do have some up there. So, and those do have dies in them. Oops, just a minute, I'm not high enough. There we go. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is, because I've run out of shelf space as well, but I think I'm going to limit myself to 3 red bins that go in that corner, oops, above there. And that's the extent of my retired dies. And I'm not sure that I'll have 3 bins worth, but I'm going to make it that's the extent of it. I do have these ones down here that sit next to it that are retired, so I will go through them. But I also have this like little section. Some of these are letter dies, and then I have letter stamps, because I find that I use those frequently, and these are all retired, and a bunch of the letters are retired. I might just have one bin dedicated to retired stamps and dies, because then I can free this space up, because I'm still looking, I need a little bit of more space. This is prime space, so I think these are going to end up in one red bin, which is going to be just letter stamps and letter dies. There are some current, this is my current die section. Oops, I'm a little high there, sorry. So I have these banners, these letters and these banners are also current. The envelopes are so big that they are too wide to fit crossways, but luckily these things are wider than they need to be. Like when you can see when they're in here, I have extra space here. So it works for me when you get these big odd size ones. I'm just going to turn them sideways. So this is my current dies that I have to go through and sort out and make sure that anything that's not current anymore goes into my new system. My red bins are going to be up. I think these three down here, just because I like the way they look better, are still going to stay as the white bins, because I know these two are stamp sets. That's one is dies. I know what they mean. And then up top, I'm just because I have them, I've guessed as well. The 3 red bins will be dies, and the rest of the bins are going to stay white. So that's my plan. Now, as far as punches go, which is the other thing, I have these shelves. So when I put my paper trays in, which I absolutely love, I had one shelf left. And at first I wasn't even going to put a shelf in. And I could, depending what I decide to do, I could pull that shelf out and just put it in storage somewhere. Or double up, like just set it on top of this other one and just double up these ones so that they just sit here. And that means I would actually be able to lower that and stand them up. So never say never that it isn't changed. But when I wanted to find somewhere to put these stamps, I ended up having just this tiny little section. So as it turns out, it is the perfect size to stick my punches in. So I'm going to try to do this without making everybody motion sick. So on this side of the paper, like above that pack of paper, and sorry, I'm trying to back up without running into anything. And above this pack of paper, and above this one, I have these skinny little shelves. So these are my current punches. And I purposely wanted to make sure that it wasn't like crowded in here, because to get them out, I still want to be able to put my hand on either side and do this. Now this is from the Woolly Friends, and it makes the most adorable sheep, right? So these are current. So when I'm sitting there, I know that there's some labels and some circles. Those are my current punches, and they're super easy to grab. Then I had, these were partially because it was just how small they were, but I had these trays from something else. I think at one point I tried to use them for my heat emboss section, which you can see is right there. That's my heat emboss section. And normally there's a table right there, and there's a plug-in right there. So I can just pull out the table, plug it in, and do my heat embossing. Currently the table is being used for my stamps. But what I ended up doing was using these trays for the minis that I have. Now, there's, I think, the set of 3, and then there's 3 Christmas ones. I haven't actually checked. Most of these minis I'm gonna tell you, they're retired. But this is where the minis fit. And it works quite well. These current ones here in the front, this little trio, are like the handiest things. They're the ones I use the most. And then right behind it is the old retired corner rounder. But this is like the perfect for me. It fits on the shelf, and it's just like a little drawer of minis. This is just another one that was, that was empty, just because I hadn't got as far as fixing the shelf. So I'm going to go through my retired punches as well, pull out what's retired. Punches are harder to get rid of, I find. And if you would like evidence of that, here is the rest of them with Rascal's Chew Toy. So this holder is actually designed to go landscape and had more solid ends on it. And that was a whole other story getting this thing in. It came from the States. My dad brought it back one time when he was driving from Arizona, because I think the holder cost $130 US. And the shipping for it was going to be like $170 US. So when the shipping is more than the product, you got a problem, especially when the product's that expensive to begin with. But this was like the perfect size. So brought it home. Turns out it did not fit. It fit in my old craft room. It was perfect. But in my new craft room, in the old bookshelves that were in this house, it didn't fit. So I had my brother trim the wood off the ends so I could slide it in between the shelves. And it worked perfect. But in the new system, I didn't want to use it anyways. It didn't really fit here. But it turns out that if I turn it on end, it still works just totally fine. So the bottom, you'll see there's no, where's my finger? There we go. The bottom, there's no piece on it yet. So those other punches that are on the shelf are there. So what I need to do is I need to go, and this is all since November when I figured this out. I need to go and just build a new bottom plate for it and a top plate for it. And because if anybody knows, I need a 3/4 inch circle punch that is in the new, this is the only one I have, but I am desperately looking for this in the new, like the new style, so it's smaller. But this doesn't fit. That one whale tail that I have left does not fit in either of my systems. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a, these are part of the piece that got cut off too. It got shortened. So I'm going to rebuild it, and I'm going to put, one of them is going to be just like an open shelf that's big enough that I can stick those like oddball punches in. The other blocks, those are, I'm just saving those from a friend. But so they're just kind of sitting there right now. But so this needs to be rebuilt. Excuse me. But I am going to go through this as well and see if there's any in here. I think when I did my, when I moved everything over in November, I kind of went through the punches already, but I'm going to give them another look and just see if there's anything to come out. So, storage solutions plus a task. I kind of mixed them up together. So to be clear, day 8's task is to go through all of your punches and all of your standalone dies, or any dies you have that you didn't go through when you went through your stamp sets. Organize, purge, label, do what you need to do with your punches and your dies. And then if anybody's got any other great tips on storing those or storing the stamps, that would be awesome. And if anybody wants to make a trade, empty CD cases for empty envelopes, the new style envelopes, let me know. All right, I will be back. I should be doing a video just because that live turned out to be gong show. Tomorrow with, I don't actually remember what tomorrow's task is. Doesn't matter. Have a good Wednesday. Happy organizing. Let's see how you do on stamps and dies. Bye, folks.